Guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. What's up, guys? It is update day, and it is a big one. It's a small one, but it's a big one. It's a bunch of quality of life changes, but man, I am so excited. The first thing that I did was came into the arena here. I went through my team setup, and I set my very first arena team on my team presets, and then I went in here to Madame Saris, and I changed it so she's always starting with her midnight ritual. Man, I am so excited. There's not just Madame Saris, so many champions that I can't wait to go in there, build a team around them, and fix their AI. Even for speed farming in the arena or in Doom Tower, I'm going to go in and just do A1s with Baron. I'm going to go in there and fix Coldheart, or not fix Coldheart, but make her not utilize her A2 as we speculated on yesterday's video, and see how much damage she can put out just spamming her A3 on Reflex set. In case you missed that video, I'll have it in the show notes below. Really fun to play around with not just these champions, but a bunch of these champions that previously were kind of broken. Chancellor Yasmin, a champion that was totally broken, who would go into, what, her A3? She would go into her A3, which did nothing. And by the way, what do you guys feel about the spaced out champions on the index? It's going to take a little bit to get used to. I'm sure one day we'll look back and we'll think, okay, it's way better this way now that we have the support, attack, defense, support, defense, kind of along with the characters. But having them spaced out is like really bothering me on first glance. Anyway, Chancellor Yasmin, she will no longer lead out with her A3 as an opener. Prince Kaimar will no longer lead as his A3 Seal of Magic in the arena. You want him to go in with his A2 or in auto runs on dungeons. So there's so many changes, guys. I'm sure we'll have a ton of content here on the YouTube channel for you guys talking about champions who have improved thanks to this new AI customization in the game. But guys, what I really want to talk about is this Hurndig fusion. Now, Hurndig, from everything that we've seen from this dude, he looks like an absolute monster. He can nuke. He's a good champion. He's a really good champion. However, as I told you in a few videos ago, guys, I'm no longer going for old school fusions. I reserve the right to change my mind at some time in the future if there's like an absolute can't live without it game changer, but this to me is not it. And I'm making this video because A, I'm not telling you not to go for these fusions. I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade. If you like doing this, if you like monotonously leveling up, 8 rare champions, maybe even 16 rare champions, fully ascending them to level 50, and then doing it all over again with epic champions, if that's your idea of fun, then go for it. And I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I'm serious, right? Some people actually do really enjoy these fusions, and I'm not here trying to, again, rain on their parade. If that's what you enjoy, then go for it. This dude seems to be worth it if you want to put in all those resources in time, if you enjoy it, because it's a game, you should enjoy it at the end of the day. But for me, man, I'm looking at all these events, and more importantly, I'm looking at two kind of main things that I'm factoring into this decision why I'm skipping this fusion. Number one is I think that these epic champions are worth keeping. A few of them in particular, we'll talk about them, are really good champions, okay? So that's number one. So I would just concentrate on these epics. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to concentrate on the epics and, kind of forget the legendary. It'll be okay, right? There's nothing worse than fusing a fusion champion, fusing a fusion, and then you pull it from a shard like the next week, right? Nothing worse than that, so I bet that's what's going to happen anyway, right? But the other reason is for Hurndig, man, listen, I agree. He seems like a beast. I'm not sitting here trying to take any shots at Hurndig, okay? Let's take a look at Hurndig. I'm not trying to take any shots at him because he looks like a great champion. I'm still trying to get used to the background. Like, where is he? Right in front of my face. So Hurndig looks like an absolute stud of a champion. He has a grants an extra turn, decreases the cooldown of Stasis Strike by 2 turns if the attack kills an enemy. On his A2, it's an AoE 3-turn cooldown with a decreased defense, decreased accuracy. On his A3, attacks one enemy, fully depletes their turn meter, will also attack all enemies if the first attack is critical. This AoE attack has a 100% chance of placing a weakened debuff for 2 turns. Will also place HP burn debuff for 2 turns after the attack on enemies whose turn meters are below 30%. So man, he's doing a lot, and he has a really cool passive. Fills his champion's turn meter by 10% for each time they are hit, and then also fills his champion's turn meter by 20% whenever an ally dies. Pretty cool passive to add to an already good hit with solid multipliers, right? But at the end of the day, he's not, in my opinion, that much of a game changer where you can't live without him, especially if you already have great nuker options or you already have a magic affinity decreased defense, which most of you probably already do if you've been playing this game for a certain amount of time. So I'm not here trying to hate on him. I'm just saying it's a lot of work and it's not for me, right? It's not for me. And let's take a look at these other epic champions, right? We have 4 epic champions who, again, you guys are going to have to bring to level 50 and fully ascend these champions anyway just to get Hurndig, or you can work on these epic champions. Maybe you only work on one of these epic champions, but let's go ahead and discuss these 4 champions because honestly, there's a lot of value to be had there. Let's actually start with the Skinwalker because shame on me, I didn't mention it. I didn't pick up on it when I was doing a quick reaction to these, these new champions. First of all, this guy looks really cool, right? He's a hippo, a walrus. He's tusked. We know that. So Horfries the Tusks, right? On his A1, he has a stun. On his A2, increase attack, increase crit rate for 2 turns on a 3 turn. But then he has revives 2 random allies with 50% HP, fills their turn meters by 50% HP. After the revival, puts strength and buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 5-turn cooldown. He is a badly needed Skinwalker reviver. And again, I brushed past that. Shame on me when reviewing all these champions. But for a lot of people, especially struggling with Skinwalker's faction crypts, I mean, he's going to be a game changer right there, right? He has a lot of HP as well in his kit. His damage is based off of HP. He has the stun, increase attack. He's bringing enough to the table, especially with that revive, that he's worth building for a lot of players already, right? Can definitely use him. The next guy I want to talk about is Siege Hulk, excuse me. So he looks like a beast of a champion too. I mean, he's huge. He's got an X-bow. For those of you who play Clash Royale, my other channel, or Clash of Clans, he's got an X-bow on him. You can't even see it because he's so big. Jeez, how come I can't see it? I can't even angle to see the X-bow. So this guy's pretty squishy, guys, pretty low defense, but his kit is pretty dang good. Decreased target's turn meter by 15% if they're under decreased defense and decreased speed, which he has decreased speed on his A3 on a 3-turn cooldown. Places an increased crit rate, increased crit damage on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks 1 enemy. Has a 100% chance when both are placing decreased speed debuff on the target as well for 2 turns, okay? And then on the A2, places an increased attack on this champion for 2 turns, attacks all enemies, and then places the decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns. So hey, we were just talking about it. You need a magic affinity decreased defense on an AoE on a 3-turn cooldown. Well, he's got that in his kit, right? So, I mean, you could make the argument already that he's serving a lot of utility and is much easier to get if you just need that defense, that decreased defense. I'm not comparing him to the Fusion Champion. Obviously, he's not as good, but he has a decreased defense. Again, another Magic Affinity Champion on a 3-turn cooldown, and he brings a lot of extra utility to his kit as well with a decreased speed. He has increased crit damage, crit rate, and attack that he's all bringing to the table, putting on himself. So the third champion, guys, Lizardman, it's Skathics. So Skathics, and again, the reason I'm showing you all these champions is for a lot of your accounts, it's going to make more sense going after all these epics. If you're going to go after all these epics and bring them to level 50 and ascend them anyway, it might be better just keeping these 4 epic champions for a lot of your accounts. It might be better, guys. It might be. So I want you to at least make that consideration before you throw away these 4 epic champions. That's all I'm trying to really get across to you guys. So Skathics, on his A1 decreased speed, love to see it. On his A2, excuse me, an AoE with a chance of stealing a random buff. On his A3, removes all debuffs, so we get a cleanse on a 4-turn. We get block debuffs and a shield for 2 turns. Block debuffs and a shield for 2 turns, even on a 4-turn cooldown with the full cleanse, is really an insane ability. This guy's a really good support champion, and then he has a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever their HP drops below 30%. So he's hard to kill on top of all that. Decreased speed, we've got the stealing buffs, we've got the block debuffs, the shield, the cleanse. I mean, this guy's bringing a lot to the table. A lot of you guys are going to be able to benefit from him. And then last but not least, who am I missing? Oh, it's the Shadowkin. So this guy looks really good as well, and it is Gory. So Gory is a Shadowkin Spirit Affinity champion. He attacks one enemy 2 times, places an extra hit if they're under freeze with the heal based on 10% of the damage inflicted. On his A2, it's 100% freeze on a 3-turn cooldown on 3 random enemies. You'd love to see that, or 3 times, I should say. You'd love to see that. A guaranteed freeze is not something we see in this game almost never, right? We see it on a few champions, sure, Mani, I guess kind of Gurgle the Augur as well, but there's not that many, right? Not that many at all. So nice to see that, even though it's not a true AoE. And then Frostbreaker attacks one enemy, ignore defense, or increase defense, and shield buffs. Also ignore 50% of the target's defense if they're under a freeze. Plays a counterattack buff and an increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns if the attack kills an enemy. And then his passive is counterattacks with the Cold Comfort skill. Is that his A1? Whenever an enemy places a stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear, or true fear debuff on any ally. Wow, really, really cool, unique damage dealing champion. I really like this passive as well. Dignity, if I can speak. Guys, listen. I'm not trying to take shots at Hurndig. He's a great champion. At the end of the day, if you guys want to go for him, you think it makes a lot of sense for your account, certainly do it. He's incredibly viable. End game, he's going to be a beast. However, he's not a difference maker in the way that all 4 of these epic champions might be for a lot of your accounts. So go after maybe 1 or 2 of those epics. Heck, maybe even 3 or 4 of those epic champions. I think even I am guilty of this at times in the past, but I think content creators are always going to come out here and tell you how amazing these new champions are. But for a lot of players, they already have a damage dealer. They already have a great nuker. Maybe Hurndig is 10% better than their great nuker, but maybe some of the epic champions are better and they'll take way less resources and way less of your time, your precious time, trying to unlock them inside the game. So at least consider both of the options there. And of course, some players will go after, one of the epic champions and then some, right? And just fuse more champions together. So guys, make the decision that works best for you. Personally, I'm going to be going after all of these epic champions, and I'll be passing on Hurndig. Nothing against Hurndig, but I'm no longer, this is my own personal choice. I'm not telling you guys how to play the game, but I'm no longer going to be distracted by all the new shiny objects that Plarium dangles in front of me to monopolize my time and my resources and my energy. But those of you who do go for them, let me know how much you enjoy them, because I'm sure you will. Guys, we're going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end, and as always, take care, guys.